Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video in Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Senna updated complete guide, taking a little bit of a break from talking about like ADCs. I mean, arguably Senna is an ADC. She can technically be playing the ADC position, but obviously she's a support because of her passive. Now obviously if you don't really know what she does or stuff like that, take a look at the basic guide I posted earlier today. Of course, that will go over her skills, living order tips and tricks, as well as her combos. And now we're going to jump straight into talking about her loadout. So as a support, you generally are going to start off support item first. Now, I don't have support item over here in my build. And the reason for that is I like to choose between both support items. And when you are assigned support role and you don't have a support item in your build, the game automatically recommends both of them to you. And you can choose which one you want. And why I say this is basically, in certain matchups where you can bully and you can actually walk up, it's better to take Spectral Sickle, because Spectral Sickle, actually, number one, it charges faster than Relic Shield, and number two, of course, you don't actually have to take minions with Relic Shield, and Senna has a higher chance of course, getting more stacks on her passive. But in certain games where you cannot actually bully, then that is where you want to, of course, go for your Relic Shield, of course, for that safety. So basically, you want to, of course, use your Relic Shield to take minions, and in doing so, you're going to stack it and, of course, upgrade it. So that's kind of your two options. Going to talk a little bit more about that in the gameplay later. But as your first item, you want to go for manamune. Obviously, manamune has been buffed, so last time it used to only work on autos, now it works on abilities as well. This, of course, is going to be useful for Senna's like ultimate, but especially for her Q, and slightly for her W, I guess you could say. But yeah, this is going to be a lot better for Senna now than, you know, what it was last time. So now, the second item, you actually have three options. But in the current meta, you're almost always going to go for Serpent's Fang. Why? Because Shield Bow is a very popular item. And Serpent's Fang hard counters Shield Bow. Why? Because obviously Serpent's Fang, you get, of course, your attack damage, your ability haste, as well as your armor penetration. And I'm actually recording this section of the video, of course, before the patch 4.3 B or something like that, where Serpent's Fang is actually going to get buffed. So the armor penetration is going to be, like, I think it's like 15 armor penetration now after the buff. So it's going to be even stronger. You get the lethality as well. And of course you get the Shield Reaver passive, which obviously reduces shield. So basically when you attack them, their shield bow, when the shield bow pops, the shield is going to be so tiny it's basically negligible. And you basically might as well just not play shield bow if you're playing against a Serpent's Fang user. Like, honestly, if I play against a Serpent's Fang user, I'm not going to build shield bow because you're losing all of the shield bow value. Of course, if you build Shield Bow already and then the Serpent's Fang comes in, that's a different story. But if I see a Serpent's Fang on enemy team, I'm not going to start building Shield Bow. So, of course, Shield Bow is no longer really a first item kind of deal, but it's very often like a second or third item on a lot of ADCs and some other champs like Yasuo's, Yone's, and etc. And there's also a lot of others like just general shielding in the team, like enchanters like Karma, Janna, for example, Lulu, or like top laners like Shen or like Set, for example. So Serpent's Fang is a really strong option. Now your other option is the default option, if there is no shielding, is going to be Black Cleaver, because the stats are amazing. You get health, AD, and ability haste, as well as being able to shred armor and gain extra movement speed. And your final option is going to be Edge of Night, which obviously gives you health, attack damage, and mainly gives you that spell shield, which in certain team comps you kind of need that spell shield to stay alive, and not you're going to get popped instantly, so sometimes you do need to go for that. Now, for the enchant, you normally want to go for Lucidity Boots because, of course, you want to spam your spells more as a support. And for the actual enchant, you have a couple of options. Now, if you want to go more carry-oriented, you can, of course, go for Stasis. You can, of course, go for Stasis. Or you can also go for, where is it? The Quicksilver Sash. But if you want to be more supportive, then the best one to go for is the Protect enchant, because you're going to increase your healing on your Q or the shielding on your ultimate by a ton, and this can of course work on the entire team if they stand together. Other option is Redemption. Redemption also works as well, and you can even go for a Meteor if you're a Meteor user. I personally never really like taking Meteor, but I do know it's a strong enchant, and I do know certain people do like to take it, but just not me personally. So you have a lot of enchant options with Senna. And now, personally, I like to go for Runan's Hurricane on Senna, because I feel like this increases her damage by a lot. Because she of course applies the mist onto enemy champions, and when she sucks out the mist, you know, you deal bonus damage. And Runan's Hurricane allows you to do this to 3 people at one go, so I love building Runan's Hurricane. And for your last item as support, you only have one last item because remember that you're going to have a support item, so you can't build both of these. It's kind of situational. You can build Rapid Fire Cannon for that bonus like auto range, but Navori Quick Blades is also really good as well, just because of getting that faster cooldown on your W and sometimes your E as well. Even your Q, sometimes you can get some value from that. Obviously gives you other stats like Ability Haste, Crit as well as AD as well. And if you manage to get enough gold, you can sell your support item and get the other one in the late stages of the game. And for the runes, Kraken Slayer is going to be the best rune for Senna because you can do a very quick auto Q auto combo to Kraken Slayer, and it's basically just the best rune for Senna. Same goes for Brutal. Of course, you're auto attacking a lot and your Q can also apply the Brutal, so this is really strong. And then of course Bone Plating for the anti-burst, or Perseverance for if the enemy team has a lot of CC. And I like taking Transcendence personally to get more ability haste and also get that pseudo Navori passive when you hit level 11. Honestly, if you want to go for something else, you could also go for other items like other runes like Sweet Tooth or Nimbus Cloak as well. But I personally just like taking Transcendence. For the spells, you have a lot of options here. Number one, you can go for Flash. So now, if you're playing as support, which you are going to be doing most of the time, you probably want to take heal so you can help your ADC or your team. You can also go for exhaust if your ADC has ghost, for example, and you need to take exhaust. Now, if you want to play more selfishly, like for yourself, you can also go for something like barrier or even ghost yourself. Because Senna, of course, with ghost, you can kite people, you can run people down. That's not ideal, but generally, I recommend to take heal or exhaust. So anyways, with all that out of the way, let's jump straight into talking about our gameplay. Okay, so now moving on to the gameplay. Of course. Now, the first thing you want to think about Senna is basically when you load into the game, there's two things you want to think about. Number one is, of course, what support item do you want to go. So, as I mentioned briefly just now, if you can play aggressive and if you can bully. So normally the situations where you can play aggressive and you can bully is into an engager support and a not strong early game ADC. So if you're playing against like a Draven, a Lucian, a Caitlyn, you can never bully those kind of like champs. But if you're playing into let's say something like a shorter range ADC, let's say like a Kai'Sa or a Tristana, like it's a lot more bullyable if you play properly. You want to go for Spectral Sickle. However, if not, you want to go for Relic Shield. So for example, here you can see we're playing against Lucian, really strong early game ADC. We're playing against Karma, also really strong support in lane, really strong lane bully. So you don't want to go for Spectral Sickle because you're going to have a very hard time proccing it, you know, bullying them. So here you want to go for Relic Shield instead. And as you guys can see here, we have the Relic Shield in this game. And a very important thing on Senna to note is you want to proc your Relic Shield only on non-cannon minions. Now, normally on most champs, on every other champ basically, you always want to proc on cannon minion because you get more gold from cannon minion. But don't forget, as we mentioned in our basic guide earlier today, cannon minion gives you 100% chance of a soul if you're not the one taking the cannon minion. So you don't want to take the cannon minion. You want to take either the melee minion or the range minion. You never want to take the cannon minion. That's the first thing you want to take note as Senna. The second thing you want to take note as Senna is what second item are you going to go for. Now, we covered just now in the build that you can go for Serpent's Fang, you can go for Edge of Night, or you can go for Black Cleaver. Now, as I mentioned, the default is Black Cleaver. But in this current meta, there's so much shielding that most of the time the default is now going to be Serpent's Fang. So here we're going to take a look at this match. So this can be decided like in the loading screen. These two things can be decided in the loading screen as you're looking at the enemy team comp, and should be decided in the loading screen. You don't want to land up in the game and, you know, waste time thinking about what item you're going to build or like you know, that kind of deal. So over here, let's take a look at the situation. We have Karma, who has shielding. We have Shen, who has a huge shield as well. It's obviously going to be Serpent's Fang. And if Lucian builds Shield Bow, that's going to give us even more value. Now, I will say that in a circumstance where, for example, let's say the top laner is someone who doesn't have shielding. Let's say it's a Gwen in the top lane. And let's say the support is a Leona, for example. And there's no shielding on the enemy team. Even if Lucian builds the shield bow, I'm not gonna go for Serpent's Fang because it doesn't really have a lot of value. I'm probably just gonna go for Black Cleaver anyways. So basically, as such, you want to evaluate what item you're gonna go for. Of course, Age of 9, in my opinion, it's a relatively obvious thing. You want to go for Age of 9 if there's a lot of CC that can very easily catch you. Let's say that they have a Blitzcrank support, they have a Diana in the mid lane, Gragas jungle, you know, that sort of deal. So in here you can see that we haven't really talked about the gameplay itself. We're talking mostly about what to take note of when you're playing Senna. But you can see here that we're playing with a Draven, and you know we have two basically relatively strong lanes. In terms of Senna, Draven is pretty strong lane, you know, in the early game, and so is Karma Lucian. So anyways, but we're getting the better of them. Lucian's died twice, and Karma has also died once. And here you guys can see that, of course, I'm playing relatively aggressively because we have a Lucian, even though their two laners are really strong as well. Honestly, in this particular game, I mentioned about how I went for Relic Shield, but honestly, it's even possible to go for Spectral Sickle because I have a Draven with me, and we should be winning trades together. But if you're ever in doubt, you always want to choose the safer option and, of course, go for the Relic Shield. Alright, so now here, as we shove out the wave, we're gonna see, you know, if we can find more trades. Obviously, Draven is now super duper fed. He's already gotten a cash in, and he is now at 4k gold, whereas Lucian's only at 2.5. So we definitely want to find opportunities to fight and opportunities to bully and get Draven even more hit. Now here you can see that Lucian is unloading the culling, but you know, he doesn't really do all that much. Here we also get hit by Karma's ultimate. Here I ult to give us the shield as well to try to do a little bit of damage. Overall, we just end up trading basically ult for ult on everybody, essentially. But honestly, nothing too much really happens. Everybody's still in a relatively healthy state, and yeah, nothing too much really comes of it. So here, honestly, you can see Draven is doing like really well. Probably gonna talk about this a little bit later on in the video, but he basically just starts flaming me halfway through the game like non-stop for like no apparent reason, in my opinion. But anyways, that's beside the point. Happens really often. But here, you know, we got a free pick onto the Lucian, and of course Veigar is also dead, so it's really easy dragon for us. Shen has to, of course, run away. My team is transitioning over to go for Herald. Here I'm just staying with the Draven so that we can push the lane down and pick up souls. Now the interesting thing about Senna is Senna kind of needs to be near minion waves to get souls. So roaming on Senna is kind of like sucky in a way where, like, if you roam, you're gonna miss out on getting souls. You're gonna miss out on XP and gold from minions as well, like the passive XP and gold. So basically what I like to do on Senna most of the time is to not roam too much, but what I like to do instead is I like to use my ulti to help my team, something like that. I gave the shield to the Swain. Swain picks up 2 kills, although the people do end up dying. But yeah, that's generally what I like to do. Now here, I was actually going for the other minion, but unfortunately Draven kind of one-shot that minion, so I end up taking the cannon by mistake, and I don't, of course, end up getting the soul, which is pretty tragic. But anyways, you know, it's not too bad. Of course, the enemy team did pick up the Herald and off of this situation. But here, me and Draven are picking up some tower plates. You can see Draven's now at 6k gold. He's super duper fat, and honestly, with a Draven 3-0 and 1, honestly, he should be able to just take over the game and run over the enemy team at this point, and it should be a relatively free win. But you will see later on that the game actually becomes a little bit competitive, and it's not actually as free of a win as it kind of looks at the moment. So here once again I'm trying to trade. Here Shen ult comes in, Viet comes in for the ulti as well. Shen rotates, and here we're in a full-on fight. Veigar's coming down from mid lanes, like becoming a party down here in the bot lane. Swain is on the way, and here I'm just trying to hit whoever I can from a safe distance. I get the root onto the Karma, I finish off the kill on Karma. Xin Zhao is kind of trying to go onto me, so I'm kind of just trying to run away. Here Draven flashes forward to finish off the kill onto the Shen, and here I'm just picking up my my souls and just getting a little bit of damage onto Xin Zhao since I can. And yeah, so here Xin Zhao goes in onto me and Draven. Draven goes for the kill on Xin Zhao, gets the kill, but of course just dies to the tower. Now honestly, as a team we could have played that better. Like if I knew he was gonna go for that, I would have tanked the tower instead, but I wasn't expecting you know, such an aggressive move by Draven. I guess it's not surprising because it's Draven, but I didn't really feel like that was worth it at all because he had to risk his life to get the kill on Xin Zhao. Like, Xin Zhao is like, you know, he's doing all right, but I didn't think it was worth it to give shutdown on Draven to Xin Zhao like for that kill. So I didn't really think that that was a good idea personally, which is why I didn't really do anything about it. But you know, basically ends up, you know, that he got the kill anyways. Here Vi comes in, I follow up with my ulti, and we get a very free kill onto the Lucian. Draven just randomly outs. Don't think we could finish off the Karma there. She's still almost at full health. So now here I'm gonna back and pick up some items. Now we have the Serpent's Fang already. Of course, we're gonna start getting our boots as well. So with the Serpent's Fang, of course, we're gonna be able to counter the Shen as well as the Karma shielding. The Draven doesn't actually have shield bow, but it looks like he's building shield bow. He has 2 long swords and a glove, so I think one of them is gonna build into the Noon Quiver, and it's gonna eventually build into shield bow. So that, you know, we're gonna counter that as well, most likely. He does of course have the Essence Reaver, which is basically one of the best starting items for Lucian ever since it got like buffed. So here Xin Zhao drops the Herald onto the mid lane. Not much we can do to really stop the Herald here. Here I'm making sure I stand between Vi and Lucian so I can block the culling, but didn't really need to do that. Eventually Vi is able to just walk out. And here the dragon spawning in 30 seconds, so here I'm just like just clearing out mid lane. If no one's around, it's okay to just take farm on Senna. Here I ult to try to help the Nasus against the Shen. But yeah, it's okay to just take some farm because after all, you are serving a pseudo ADC who also needs gold, and of course that gold is going to allow you to buy more items and of course be more powerful. But of course with Senna, scaling off of souls is really strong as well. Here you can see we're picking up even more souls. Dragon is coming out. We've pushed out bot lane and pushed out, we didn't really push out mid lane. My mid lane is now neutral. So here we have our whole team here aside from Nasus. So here we're trying to go onto the dragon. Here I get the root onto Xin Zhao. Draven's able to follow up, chunking Xin to half health. Xin is flashing after us, and here we all get caught by a huge Karma ultimate. Here Shen comes in, but you see it with the healing cut. You can barely see the Shen shield, which is pretty surprising. Looks like we're gonna lose the fight here. So here I'm just trying to run away. Now here I'm left at 1 HP here, and a really sticky situation. Do manage to pick up the kill on Veigar, but here you can see I'm basically just ulting to try to snipe the Karma. Unfortunately, I don't get the snipe on Karma. But I have my Mirror Mana evolved, so now I know I'm actually pretty strong. I was trying to back, but I realized that they're both really low as well. So I'm not gonna let them get the tower or get the tower damage for free. Here you can see I'm basically just blasting. I nearly killed that Karma just with that 1Q, and Lucian's really low as well. So they of course get scared and they run away. So I am able to indeed save the tower and not give them the tower, like, you know, for no good reason. So here I'm going to back, and because my Draven is really fed, I've actually gone for the Protect Enchant instead of going for like a Stasis or something like that. Because my team is doing relatively well. Draven's pretty fed, Nasus is even, Vi is also sort of like even, and Swain is doing alright as well. So I'm trying to play a little bit more supportive this match. I have the heal. I also of course have the Protect Enchant. Here we're trying to finish off the kill on Lucian, but not quite enough damage to do that. And yeah, so, you know, Draven obviously hasn't started flaming me yet, but very soon he's going to just start flaming me because he just dies a couple of times and he gets pissed off. He basically went from like 6-0 to like 6-3 now, so he's also like, he's fed, but he's sort of like starting to feed, which is kind of like not good at all. So, yeah. So if of course he started flaming me already, I wouldn't go for Protect Enchant, I would just go for like Stasis and all. So here we have the famous Senna flank. You can see I'm like in the back line, basically just taking care of the Karma and the Lucian myself. Taking too much damage, so I'm going to have to flash out. Here we get a root onto Shen and get off a decent amount of damage onto him. He tries to fly in with the taunt, but he just ends up dying. And we are able to of course pick up the kill. So now of course we're doing really decent on Senna. 3-0 and 10 is of course really good. We haven't really died yet, and we do have quite a ton of gold. Here, once again, I'm trying to save the tower. I get, you know, quite a good root and a lot of damage off. And here I almost die again, but I somehow barely managed to survive. Veigar is also surviving on 1 HP, but Vi is on the chase. Here I'm going to back, so I'm just going to show you guys what happens here. Vi is still on the chase. Swain ends up picking up the kill using his W. So here you can see a fight breaking out in mid. I'm running there as fast as I can, seeing if I can help my team. Get the root off onto both of them, and I also get the shield reduction onto both of them. And here Draven's here, and he's trying to run them down. And now I'm just with my team, of course using my E to mask their identity as we roam around. You never know where enemy wards are at, so hiding the identity of your teammates is always going to be somewhat useful. It's definitely not the best part of Senna's kit, but it's something that she can do and you should be doing to make full use of what Senna can actually do. But yeah, it's not really anything too exciting here. Now, of course, there's a bot wave. So here, you can see I'm just standing around so that when they pick up the minions, I can get souls. I got 3 souls off of this wave of 4 minions, which is pretty, it's pretty good what we got here. So here we're going to go roam to mid. Mid wave is crashing, so we're going to wait. Here I'm trying to get a catch onto the Vega. Unfortunately, I don't hit my root. So we no real catch to be had here. And here we're going to destroy each other's control wards, basically. Again, I try to hit the root, but once again, it goes in between 2 champions. Doesn't really work out. And yeah. So here you can see I can Q Draven to heal myself. Obviously, the Q works on yourself. Even if people are full HP, you can, of course, just Q to heal yourself as well. And here another mid wave is coming in. Once again, I'm just going to stand near to the wave so that I can, of course, just get the souls that are dropping. I have a huge amount of souls at this point. And 4 souls from the wave of 4. Getting pretty lucky this game in terms of getting the soul drops. And here you can see that the next dragon is coming up. This is the 3rd dragon. Here Vega tries to put the cage on me. I'm just going to walk away. And here Draven and Nasus are actually on the top lane. Trying to get a kill onto the Shen. While the rest of us are going for the dragon. I'm not too sure what those 2 people are doing there. Like, at least Draven should be here. But he's not. So here anyways, we're getting into another fight. Here I'm trying to ult across to help my team. I'm flashing away from the Lucian because Lucian can obviously kill me. Now that my team has gotten both of them, now Lucian is now the one that's vulnerable and he has to actually run away. I'm going to pick up the souls and we're going to start focusing in onto the dragon. And here we're just going to pick up the dragon, which also gives us 2 souls, which is pretty nice. Now we're going to actually transition into the Baron because you can see that the jungle is still dead for 25 seconds and Karma as well as Veigar is dead. Only Shen and Lucian are left alive. Here, once again, Draven and Nasus is still pushing. But the rest of us are going to focus on doing the Baron. Now they're coming to sort of help out. We're doing the Baron relatively okay because obviously Senna is like a pseudo ADC who still does a pretty decent amount of damage. We don't actually need Draven to be here to actually finish off the Baron. He basically gets a 1 auto attack and doesn't really do very much. Now here we're going to actually back. And here, for some reason, Draven goes in on this fight, which Draven as well as the Nasus goes in on this fight. I have no idea why. Even though we just got Baron and we should just reset. So here, basically, Nasus ins. Here, Draven ins as well. Now I'm going to get caught as well because I was trying to help them. And thankfully, Swain comes back out of base and ends up basically saving my life by preventing them from being able to catch me. Here I'm running away and I'm just going to recall. In the meantime, the rest of my team is still fighting the enemy team. Swain is really tanky now, so he's really difficult to kill. He has his ult on and he's basically able to kind of clean up shop. Unfortunately, here he's not able to chase the Karma and he ends up dying. And this is basically the point where I start getting flamed by Draven for no real reason. Honestly, Draven and Nasus are the ones making stupid decisions by going 2v5 against the enemy team when we just picked up Baron and we haven't reset and spent our goal. We basically went from teamfight win to Dragon secure to Baron secure, and what should have happened there is we all reset, spend our goal, and of course be on our merry way. But what actually happened is basically day 2 int, I nearly die for them inting, and my team basically, the Swain also ends up dying as well, and yeah, it was just a complete disaster. And he starts getting mad and he starts flaming me in particular, and which I don't really understand why, to be very honest, but basically I just muted him after that, so we don't really know what he has to say afterwards anyways. Doesn't really matter. Obviously, in such situations when people are flaming you for no good reason, even if they're flaming you for a good reason, you can always just mute them. Doesn't really matter. You don't really have to care about what people have to say. Or better yet, don't have your chat on in the first place, which I do sometimes. Anyways, here we have Runan's Hurricane. We're doing a lot of damage. We're 3-0 and 15, but you can see now, we have 11k gold, which is like pretty much as anyone on the enemy team. So we're really fed at this point. We basically just have to stay in the back line and just not get caught. Just apply our Shield Reaver onto the enemy team and just like basically blast whoever we can. Here, almost get culled down by the Lucian, but we're fine. Using the Protect Enchant, we are able to, of course, heal ourselves up as well as our team. And now here, Elder Dragon is going to spawn in a couple of seconds. Now, everybody on both teams are still alive. So it's semi-risky, but, you know, my team is pretty ahead of the enemy team at this point in time, especially, you know, because, you know, we're like 10k gold ahead, so we're doing really well. Here, enemy team tries to walk in. I get a huge root off onto them. And here I'm just in the backline once again, just blasting wherever I can. Here I'm just trying to attack the Veigar. I get the root onto Karma in the meantime as well. But I'm left really low again. So here I'm going to have to run away. Here I ult to try to help my team, give them the shield, and see if I can finish off the kill. Here I'm just going over to pick up the fruit. So in the meantime, I'm going to show you guys my team. Here Swain and Vi are trying to finish the job once again. It's the same as the three of us once again. Nasus and just Draven just died again. And it's the three of us once again. Here, Vi is actually pretty low. I was initially thinking of backing, but since Xin Zhao is dead and only Veigar and Karma are alive, we actually decide to 3-man the Elder Dragon, which is pretty alright. Here I'm warding over the wall to ensure that, you know, we can see if anyone's coming. And here I'm doing the Elder Dragon, and at the same time using my Q to try to heal my team up, so that, of course, you know, we are in a healthy state, assuming someone comes in to contest. Obviously now we have vision on Veigar as well as Karma. We know that they're not actually coming to contest, so we're able to pick up the Elder Dragon for free. And now with the Elder Dragon, Baron is of course now up again. So now we can move straight over to the Baron from the Elder Dragon with the Elder Dragon buff. And we should be able to get Baron and then just end the game. Of course, assuming that Nasus and Draven, you know, don't just end up inting again. So here we're in the Baron era. I actually just wanted to do the Baron, but as usual, my team just ends up going for a fight. So here I'm just going to rotate over to help my team. Of course, apply the Shield Reaver onto the Shen to ensure that he's unable to get much value from his gargoyles. Also, of course, huge current to gargoyles. Here we get another 4 souls here. So just picking up the souls using my Q. And here we're just now just going to fall back onto doing the Baron with a man advantage. Now here you can see I have basically accrued enough range to where I can blast the Baron over the wall. So I'm just going to stay here over the wall. We have vision, you know, of course in the enemy jungle, so I can see if any enemy is coming. They won't be able to sneak up on me and kill me anyway, so here I'm just going to stay over the wall and of course just pick up the Baron. Now with Baron and Elder both, we should be able to, of course, try to end the game, but since my whole team is resetting, I'm going to reset as well. Pick up my rapid fire cannon. In this game, I decided to go for a rapid fire cannon because I felt that my autos were doing a lot of damage. So with the extra range to get off like another free auto, you know, this would be doing huge amounts of damage to the enemy team. We're probably gonna see it in action. Here I was trying to actually help Nasus out with the shield, but I ended up actually accidentally KSing the kill onto the Karma. But yeah, so anyways, here you can see, yeah, we do huge damage onto the Lucian. You can see that one auto did nearly half of its health there. So here, you know, with the Elder Dragon, with the Barons, pretty much it's going to be a free win here. We're just going to blast down this tower. At the same time, just pick up a couple more kills. Triple kill coming off on the Vi, onto the Xin Zhao. Only Shen's left alive. And here, we can just finish off the game. And yeah, there we go. So we're going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. And goodbye.